Field of 68 after dark. What's going on, party people? Welcome in to a Saturday, March 7th edition of Field of 68 After Dark. And gotta say, fellas, it's a little melancholy because not only, do I have to suffer through this with Jeff Goodman and Rob Dauster. I'm John Martin, by the way. Dauster reminded me, I guess the social media team here reminded me, this is the final regular season Saturday of the college basketball season. It's great because we're getting into the nut cutting time, but man, it's a little sad, isn't it, Jeff, that it's flown by so fast?
It is. I mean, you're talking a week from tomorrow, we will have brackets. Like that's just wow. I don't know. I mean, it gets here. It gets here quick, and then everything gets going, and I can't wait. I can't wait. I mean, obviously, this is the best time of year. I hate the coaching carousel. That's the part I hate this time of year. I love the games. I can't wait to see in person, John. It's been a long time. So I can't wait to see in person in a couple of weeks in DC.
Yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun. Obviously, we'll have full coverage for you, all throughout the NCAA tournament and every night leading up to it. This is Field of 68 After Dark. We're on Sirius XM Channel 84. We're on YouTube. We're on X. Packed show. Got a packed show for you. We're going to be joined by the one, the only, Rocco Miller a little bit later in the show. We've located him. It was kind of tough, but we located him, and we're going to have him on the show because it was obviously a formative day for some bubble teams. But let's start, Rob, with Duke and North Carolina. If you can sort of put aside, your financial interests, which I know took a little bit of a blow in the end of that game. Duke rolls, but maybe not without a little bit of a cost with Caleb Foster and obviously Ngangba, who John Shire said maybe not expecting for the ACC tournament. Where do you come down on just this entire day for Duke?
Well, first and foremost, the fact that Duke can't cover when they have a 25-point lead, can't cover a 17.5-point spread against their arch rivals is shameful stuff, John. Shameful stuff, really.
Shameful.
I would be worried about this, right? Like the question that we had with this Duke program was, what happens if you can kind of slow down Cam Boozer? And obviously that is much more difficult and much easier said than done, right? He had 26, 15, and 5 assists tonight, by the way, just a single turnover. Where does that secondary shot creation come from? And Caleb Foster is a guy that has provided some really good minutes for them at the point guard spot, has been really good defensively for him, made some big shots. There's been a couple games, I think specifically I think it was Arkansas. He has taken over games down the stretch against them and just kind of said, hey, I'm a 6'5", 220-pound former McDonald's All-American. I'm going to go get this bucket. And if he is gone for a significant period of time, which is not confirmed yet, it didn't look great with him on the sideline, but we don't know exactly what it is. I do think that is a blow that reduces their ceiling. I do think that this is a more significant impact than Michigan losing LJ Kaysen. Now, the benefit for Duke is that a lot of what they do outside of Boozer is schematic. So it's stuff that Shire is they're basically running sets as opposed to relying on individual talents. But I do think it is a concern. Pat Ngangba, do we know exactly what the deal is there? Is this something where we're worried about the NCAA tournament, or is this just like we're going to make sure that he's right for when we get to the NCAA tournament, Jeff?
Yeah, I mean, I just saw the quote there that he said John Shire said he'd be shocked if both Caleb Foster and Pat will be available for the ACC tournament. So, I mean, obviously he's not going to fast forward to the instant, but that doesn't sound good, Jeff.
No, I think Gamba's going to be fine. I think he's going to be fine. I think, you might as well give him another 10 days, right, to get completely healthy. And, he can get that kind of first game. It'll be a 1-16 matchup. You can play him in that one to shake off a little bit of the rust, but I don't think there's any reason to play him next week in the ACC tournament. As Rob said, the big one is Caleb Foster, who, again, you try to put it in perspective here and say, like, okay, he's not the best point guard in the world. But you know what he is? He's a terrific defender, their best perimeter defender on the best defensive team in the country over the last however long. So that's where you get value. Plus, he's a veteran. Where obviously Caden Boozer has not been as good as Rob and I thought he was going to be this year. I think both of us, I don't want to speak for Rob, but I think both of us felt like he would wrestle the starting point guard position from Caleb Foster by, January 1st and not look back. And he has not been very good. He's been good at times, but he's just been kind of, the guy who doesn't make a ton of mistakes, but also doesn't, give them a whole bunch of easy baskets. He's not really a threat to do all that much scoring wise, where Foster has his games, right? He has some of those games, and he probably would have one in the NCAA tournament if he's healthy. And we don't know. We don't want to speculate, but it didn't look great for his foot. He's on the second half. He had a boot. He's on the sideline. So I just think he's capable of going for 18 or 20. And what he can do is put a lot of pressure on the defense by getting the basket. And he's good in transition. And again, he's an elite defender. And with him and Sarr on the wings defending, that's pretty good perimeter defensively.
Yeah, I mean, I think he's brought a steadiness to that backcourt. I mean, that's again, he's playing within himself, right? He's not having to do anything other than that. But Rob, I think you kind of mentioned it. I mean, they've been priced basically right behind Michigan at BetMGM as the title favorite, and it just kind of sounds like to you, if these injuries are any more serious than missing the ACC tournament, that it almost sounds like you're downgrading them.
Well, Ngangba, yes, 100%, because I think he's so important to what they do on both ends of the floor because of his passing ability, because of his size, because of the rim protection, and because it allows you to do things differently defensively, right? Like when you have Malik Brown in there, you're switching everything 1 through 5. When you have Pat Ngangba in there, you're going over screens, you're funneling guys into the paint, you're playing in drop. So it just allows you to give a different look. And one of the things that made UConn so good during the 23 and 24 championship seasons was that they could play two different ways when they had a different big guy in there. So you basically had to prepare for two different schemes defensively, and not having Ngangba, I think, really does impact that. With Foster, what I will say is, I think you downgrade a little bit with Caden Boozer defensively, and he's not quite the shooter that Caleb Foster is, but this is why you go out and you get a player like Caden Boozer, knowing he's going to be your backup, because I do think that he is good enough. He was terrific today once he kind of came in and had to play in the second half against North Carolina. And granted, it's North Carolina without Caleb Wilson. But I do think that he is good enough to be able to do the job that you need him to do, because it's not that much, right? Respectfully to Caleb Foster, he's out there to play a role. And the role is to be an impactful defender, to be in the right position defensively, to move the ball, to make sure that it gets to the guys that it needs to get to. And every once in a while, there's going to be a game where we need you to kind of go and make some plays down the stretch because you're the guy that has the matchup advantage. And I think Caden Boozer is capable of doing a lot of that stuff. So I'm less concerned about that. Obviously, not having the same kind of depth is an issue, but I'm less concerned about that. If Pat Ngangba's injury is serious, then that's one where I'm like, okay, we got to have a real conversation about
they're in trouble.
We are at.
They're in trouble
in that.
They're
team.
not.
Yes.
Yeah. But if both of them, I mean, again, if let's say Foster's out for the year, and let's say Ngangba's not 100% going into the NCAA tournament, that's a big difference for a Duke team that, frankly, didn't have a ton of margin for error anyway. Now, again, if Sarr plays the way he's played lately, sure. He's been a threat offensively, the last few games here. And, to me, Evans wasn't great tonight. But, again, their defense was just so good in the second half. That's the thing, is they could turn off the water. And now, again, Carolina – missing their best offensive player. They don't have a ton. And really, they're in trouble now. They're in trouble. I mean, we talk about Duke all day, but this Carolina team, it's kind of sad because we felt like going in. Was it you, Rob? No, somebody recently had him as it was Hummel. When I did the podcast with Hummel last week, he was like, they're like the sleeper, not a top 5 pick, top 5 seed. And he took him before Caleb Wilson obviously was re-injured.
I would have agreed with that. Like, I think he was right about that.
Yeah, it's fine. I just gave him shit because he's humble. But I think the biggest thing is now they really have no shot. I mean, they really have no shot of making a real run. I mean, if they win, honestly, if they go to the Sweet 16, that's a hell of a run at this point.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's almost like losing a first-team All-American, something that's really going to impact your team overall. So it sucks.
A little bit.
Injuries suck.
Yeah. I you know, like you guys said, I mean, I think you have to adjust that way down when you lose Caleb Wilson. So I did any other observations on Carolina? Cause we, you know, other than what Goodman said, Dauster, from them tonight, or is it just one of those things where it is what it is with them at this point?
I mean, they found one in Derek Dixon. Like, he's going to be a stud. He's the guy. Like, if you're going to prioritize stuff in the free agency period this year, this spring, I think Derek Dixon is the guy that you prioritize. Like, obviously, you want to get Henry Visar back. Like, that's an obvious one, right? But Derek Dixon is the guy. Like, I think you want to build that backcourt around for the long term. I think he's terrific.
Yeah, this also, John, I don't want to say gives like Hubert an excuse, but like anybody who is going to look to make a determination on Hubert's future based off this postseason, you now can't do it. Now it's hey, listen, he had a good year. Yeah, like they had a good year. The hard part if you're a Carolina fan is just constantly watching Duke be dominant in the regular season now and praying that Duke doesn't win the whole thing one of these years, because it's got to be a little frustrating, because you're that team that kind of, even when you made that run of the national title game, let's face it, you were mediocre for most of the season. So they've had their moments, but they haven't had nearly the consistency that Duke has had since Hubert Davis took over.
Absolutely. So Duke wins, and obviously, you know, gets their get back, but it does not come without some cost, which is, you know, the availability of Caleb Foster may be done for the year, and a lesser injury to Pat Ngong'o, but again, not expecting him for the ACC tournament, according to John Shire. All right, Rob, I'm glad you showed up for this, because it's Goodman. It's time to crown our new fourth number one seed.
Yeah.
We have a big ceremony planned.
Yeah. Is it a burial? Are we crowning, or do you want to bury first, or would you like to crown first?
I mean, we're going to bury a 2 seed. I mean, that's ridiculous. We're not going to bury a 2 seed.
Only because it's Dauster's UConn Huskies are we going to bury them.
I mean, again, the things that I would do in Memphis to be a 2 seed again.
All right. We're told by our producer Dagan Hughes we cannot bury yet. We're busy digging the grave right now, so we're not quite ready to bury. Yeah, that's right.
Rob's digging the grave. Jeff, you and I will crown. Florida wins on the road at Kentucky. That's a season sweep, obviously, of Kentucky. This Florida team is rolling. They were up 20 at one point in the second half. You know, I know, the questions we've had about the guard play, but it just seems like when you're getting that consistency from Houck and Condon and Chinyalu, those bigs, it's like, man, they're capable of overcoming even shoddy, not that they have been that. Flan's been good, but they've been doing that all year, and it's continued, obviously, today against Kentucky.
And think how much easier it makes it for them, for those guards. I mean, frankly, again, you have to go down and double those guys, and they play so damn hard too. So they get so much for you in transition because they can all run. So, to me, I think it was just a matter of time, and it took a lot longer than we thought for Boogie Flan. But now, last 5 games, I think he's 9 of 17 from 3. He couldn't make a bucket from beyond the 3-point range earlier in the season. So he's averaging about 15 points a game over the last 5, 3-to-1 assist to turnover. Xavier Lee has played very, very well over probably the past month or so. He's shooting it better. He's averaging like 7 assists a game over the last 5. So they're clicking at the right time. And frankly, the only thing missing was the backcourt. And Klobuchar, we knew, could shoot the hell out of the ball. And now you got these other guys that are starting to get confidence. That's the biggest thing. I don't think they had that confidence early in the season. Now they're starting to see these shots fall. And I think they're realizing like this is pretty fun because most of these shots we're taking are uncontested.
Yeah, they don't have to be a great shooting team to be able to win a championship. If they shoot 33% from three, I think that they're good enough to win a national championship this year and go back to back. I think it's really impressive. And we kind of talked with Todd about this, Jeff, but I think it's really impressive that they've been able to kind of work their way through some of those concerns and doubts that we had at the start of the year. Like it would be very, very easy for a team or a player to just kind of fold going through the shooting slump that Davian Lee and Boogie Flame went through at the start of the season. It would have been very easy for a coach to cut bait and say, this is not working. They're not good enough. They're the wrong fit. I messed up this recruitment. I'm going to start playing this guy because I think he's got a better chance to be able to make a little bit of a run here. When those guys were kind of going through it and they stuck with it and they believed in the system that they had and they believed in the players that they brought in and they believed in the work that they did to set themselves up for it. And it's paying off like this. I'm kind of at the point where I think Florida is the scariest team out of these groups, right? And they're not the best, but I think that they match up with the best teams. I think that they have the most physical interior presence. I don't know if it's the best. I don't know if it's the biggest. I don't know if it's the most talented, but I think that it's the most physical. And I think that'll get you a long way when you play in the NCAA tournament. Tommy Houck is terrific. Alex Condon, the move for putting him in kind of more of a point forward role, has freed up these other guys. Like they've figured it out and they are clicking, they are rolling, and they belong in that conversation with the other top three teams in America. And if you were to sit here and tell me, John, if you were to sit here and say, I think Florida is the favorite right now to win a national championship, I don't even know if I'd argue with you.
Well, it would be wrong. It would be wrong, but I get where you're coming from. I mean, I like, can they win it? 100%. I mean, but it would be wrong.
They're not far off anymore. In Vegas, they're not as far off. Right. I mean, the three are close. Florida's a little bit further back, but they've cut that margin significantly.
Oh, they most definitely have done that.
So are they,
no question about it.
Let me ask you guys this. Like if they, let's say that they run through and they win the SEC tournament championship, right? And UConn runs through the Big East and beats St. John's in the Big East tournament title game. UConn would be 30-4, 17-3 in the Big East, and they would add another quad one win over St. John's in that run. Probably two, because I think that right now Villanova on a neutral court would be a quad one win. So you add two more quad one wins there.
He's not ready to bury him just yet. He's not.
No, I'm legitimately asking, right? Because Florida, I think right now it's inarguable that they are the better team, right? But they've also ran through an SEC that has more good wins, but they are the great win. It's not like they've beaten in Illinois. It's not like they've beaten Michigan or Duke.
But are you telling me St. John's is better than Alabama?
When it comes to like
Alabama
the profile,
has head-to-head.
Alabama's better,
Alabama
but it's not like
head-to-head.
significantly better. It's not like UConn has a win over Florida. UConn has a win over Illinois. UConn has better wins. They have a head-to-head matchup with Florida win. And all of that stuff happened in November, right? So I think if you're looking at the overall resume and both of these teams go and win their conference regular or their conference tournament championships, right? It's close. Florida right now, since the turn of the calendar, it's not even a question who the better team is. Over the totality of the season, I think that there's a very strong argument to make that UConn has the better resume. And I'm sitting here as a UConn fan, and I'm like, how in the world can you give UConn the number one seed over Florida, knowing what has happened, even with that neutral court win over them? I'm just like, it's kind of got to be Florida at this point. So I'm just, is that, I don't know if I'm just,
I can't tell if you're, because we were, the plan was to release the dubs on the UConn season in the second segment, but I don't hear that.
We can talk about what happened. I got plenty of things to say about what's going on with that team itself. I'm just curious, is this legitimate? Like, is Florida now the number one seed no matter what happens? Is there any way for UConn
no matter what? Not no matter what, because again, if they lose in their first game of the SEC tournament, and UConn ends up beating Villanova and St. John's, No, it's still, to me, and I think that's the part that people want to try to make these determinations already today.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Florida's the number one. They got it. They have the number one seed. Yeah, as of today, they do. As of today, they do. We still got some pretty big games coming up.
We do. And look, I would encourage you, Rob, to pose this question to Rocco Miller and let him be the definitive word on that, because that's why we're bringing him on. And I think you need to ask that question to him. We also had a chance to catch up earlier today with Todd Golden, of course, again, 7-point win on the road at Kentucky, season sweep. Here's a little bit of that interview.
And now let me welcome onto the field of 68 after dark, Florida head coach Todd Golden, fresh off an 84-77 win at Rupp Arena. And Todd, let's start with this, man. You guys have really kicked this thing into high gear since the Auburn loss, right? Like, there were questions early on in the season, but it feels like a different team right now than you guys were in November and December. What's been the biggest difference?
Todd, tell them what's been the biggest difference after that Auburn game. Who did you see?
I think it was you. Was it you? Did I see
right,
you
it was.
South Carolina. Listen, I, to be honest, though, I thought we've been playing really well since we lost to Missouri. Missouri beat us in the first game. We won 5 in a row after that. We were playing really well. Come home against Auburn and transparently just didn't play well. And to their credit, I thought they played great that game. And that allowed us to kind of recalibrate, and we've been playing great basketball since. But it's a combination of a lot of things, man. Obviously, our bench has given us a big lift. We got a very solid 8-man rotation right now. I think Boog and X, the way they've just really gotten comfortable and played with great pace, played with great freedom and confidence. And Kondo has made a big jump over this last month in terms of being a great offensive player, playing, taking care of the ball, finishing around the rim. Tommy and Ruben, all those guys have been great as well. But our guards being, lifting up, and our bench, it's given us a big lift.
That's the biggest thing to me, your guards. I mean, we were questioning them, right, 2 months ago, like if they can take that step. And they don't have to be necessarily all league guys, but they got to be good enough, and they got to make shots, which they both done. Boogie's really started to make shots the last 5 games. Yeah. And X takes care of the ball, runs the team. Like, now I feel like you got to feel pretty good about your chances here, going into the SEC tournament, going into NCAA tournament, that, knock on wood, obviously you got to stay healthy, but you got to feel about as good as you have all year.
Absolutely. We're playing our best basketball at the right time, and Boog and X have both been great. As you said, Boog's been shooting the crap out of the ball the last couple of games. It's been a huge lift. X has been really phenomenal over the last month and a half or so. You look at it, senior night against Mississippi State, he was 19 points, 7 rebounds, like 5 assists, no turnovers, and 4 steals or something. Like, incredible numbers over the last month. He's played close to an all-league level. He really has. And then, again, the consistency with Tommy and Ruben and Kondo. But those guards are really getting comfortable and really finding themselves.
Florida, by the way, at BetMGM is plus 675, which would be good for 4th best odds in the country. Duke, your favorite, even with the injury concerns, plus 320. They have passed Michigan at BetMGM, albeit, it's a clerical error. Plus 320 with Michigan right there at plus 325. So, Rob, you said you raced to the sports book going 100 miles an hour to put $5,000 on Florida plus 675. Is that right?
App. Just put it on the app. BetMGM has an app, sir.
Mobile betting, Jeff.
And no, it wasn't that much. It was significantly less because Duke did not cover the 17.5. So my bankroll took a massive hit today. It was brutal. Yeah. Between that and Miami, you know what I'm good at? Well, I'll throw it to break after this. Everyone's got a superpower, right? Everyone's got a skill. There are things where you look at human beings and you're like, they are world class at doing a certain thing. And I am world class. I might be the best in the world at identifying a line that is so obviously a trap and then stepping right into that trap. Miami minus 1.5 without Michael Brown. That is the trappiest trap that's ever been trapped. And I took Miami today. And then when they got down early, I doubled down. And when they got down close to the end of the first half, I tripled down. It's been a rough day. On the other side of this break, you're going to hear me whine about how bad UConn was today. It's not good in the Dauster household. That's coming up next. As you know by now, we have teamed up with BetMGM again this season. We'll be using BetMGM lines to make all of our picks, and we will have special offers for Field of 68 fans, including same-game parlays, best-in-class live betting, and daily odds boost. If you haven't signed up for BetMGM yet, use bonus code FIELD to get up to a $1,500 first bet offer on your first wager with BetMGM. Here's how it works. You download the BetMGM app, you sign up using bonus code FIELD, you deposit at least $10 and place your first wager on any game, and you receive up to $1,500 in bonus bets if your bet loses. Just make sure you use that bonus code FIELD when you sign up. Make this college basketball season one for the history books. Make it legendary. And don't forget, if you haven't signed up for BetMGM yet, use bonus code FIELD and get your $1,500 first bet offer today. It all ends here. April 6th, the national champion is going to be crowned right here in this building, Lucas Oil Stadium.
Make sure you follow along Field of 68. We have shows every single night after dark. It's the place to be to follow everything college hoops.
Streaming on YouTube. We're on SiriusXM Channel 84. Selection Sunday. We got a 6-hour marathon. We're going to be at all the Power 4 conference tournament games. We're going to be at the second week of the tournament, and we'll meet you guys right here in Indianapolis to crown a national champion.
Welcome back, Field of 68 After Dark on a Saturday, March 7th edition of the show. A little bittersweet. The bitter part is that this is the last regular season Saturday of the season. And the sweet part is that means we're getting into postseason play. All right. We sell shirts and merch that says every month should be March. That's because that is a fact. That's an ethos. It's actually one of many ethos that this network stands for. Right. And we can get into the other ones later, but that's one of them. And so in the spirit of that, Rocco Miller's going to join us in just a little bit, and we'll, throw him some bubble questions. But in the meantime, in between time, we'll pepper him. That's right. Interrogation. We wanted to give you an opportunity, Rob. Here lies UConn. Season obviously ends with the loss at Marquette earlier today. So would you like to say some words about this group, 68-62 to Marquette?
It's crazy that I'm sitting here, right? The fan of a team that is 27-4 on the season, went 17-3 in the Big East, had some incredible wins this year, earned the 2 seed in the Big East tournament with a chance to be able to go and win a Big East championship still. And I'm like, this sucks. What a bad season. What a terrible way to end it. It's if you were the fan of a program like John, I don't know, maybe like someone like Memphis, like this is the stuff that you dream of, right? To be able to have this kind of a season and this kind of a run and be set up like that. They're going to be a 2 seed in the NCAA tournament. And I just have no confidence in them being able to like make it out of the first weekend. I just don't. Like what it's gotten to a tipping point where the flaws that this team has and the issues that they've been dealing with all year just have never gotten better. Like, how many times have we said on this show on After Dark, like, just wait until they click into gear. Wait until Solo Ball starts making shots. Wait until Braylon Mullins finds his confidence offensively. Wait until they stop turning the ball over. Wait until Terrace Reed can consistently be dominant. Wait until this. Wait until that. Wait until this. Wait until that. We're still fucking waiting, man. Like, we're still at the point where it's like, are they going to be able to find a way to do this, that, and the third? No, they're a team at the end of the day that is very sloppy with the ball, that is not consistent enough shooting from the perimeter, which is a problem when you have a team that is built on being able to be efficient offensively and create open catch and shoot 3-point opportunities for 3 guys. You go 3 for 24 on the road and have 16 turnovers and lose by 2 to an 11-19 team. Like the problems are there. Like it's very obvious what is going wrong with this group right now. And it's something that has been consistent throughout the Big East season, and it just hasn't gotten better. And at this point, why would you expect it to turn around? They had a week off to prepare for a 1-game sample against an 11-19 team where all you have to do is win, and you win a Big East championship. And that's the performance we got. It is what it is.
Well, why?
Because they don't have one guy you trust. They don't have one guy you know what you're going to get from every single game, right? Like Rob said, solo ball. Yeah, he might have a game here or there where he's making shots. Braylon Mullins, I think we all thought was going to keep getting better and better. And I think the injury, the concussion probably set him back for a little bit, but he hasn't developed into that guy that can just take over a game. Terrace Reed, we've seen it in spurts, right? But he's not a dominant big guy. Silas Demery, gotten better, but again, not a guy that like can take over a game and just be the best player on the floor. Who am I forgetting?
I disagree with the
Caravan.
latter part.
Caravan. I just think they got a lot of good players. They don't have an elite player. They don't have an elite college basketball player.
That's true. They don't. But I disagree with the latter part because Silas Demery absolutely can. Right, he is certainly capable of doing that, and we've seen him do it multiple times this season.
Yeah,
the problem is on a consistent basis, and the hard part is when he has to take games over, it means that UConn is in a spot where they are down and they are trailing, and you are hoping that he is the wild card that will allow you to dig out of it. Because the way that this team is set up, it's all right, we're going to try to establish the post and run everything through, allowing Terrace Reed to seal and get a post touch and get a layup at the rim and run a set where all he has to do is literally catch the ball and lay it in. And they can do that early. And then you know what happens? Terrace Reed is out of position or reaches or does something dumb. And all of a sudden he's got 2 fouls and now he's got to go over to the bench and then he's out of a rhythm and he never gets back in. And the team can never find that rhythm when he gets back in. Solo ball just has not been able to find a way to get his shot right. Like he just hasn't. If you're a guy that came in that was supposed to be one of the best shooters in the Big East Conference, one of the best shooters in college basketball, and we're sitting here on March 7th, and you're shooting 30.8% from three, like that's just at that point you're just not very good as a shooter this year, right? And I think it's 99% mental. Alex Caravan, the problem with Alex is like when everybody else is struggling, he moves up in terms of what he's asked to be. He's the best fourth man in college basketball, right? When you need him to be the go-to guy, that you're just asking him to do something that is not one of his strengths. And it puts him in a position where he struggles. The depth hasn't been there. The bench hasn't been there. It's just there's a laundry list of things that you can circle and say, this is why this team is struggling, and they're still 27-4. And I think that tells you a lot about the guy that got ejected today.
By the way, no suspension. Jeff, is that your reporting?
No, there'll be no suspension because he didn't bump him. He didn't bump him. I know, it looks like it on the photo that was circulating, but I have a pretty good source that says there was no bump. No bump.
No bump. No bump.
No bump.
And that's critical.
Absolutely
and I will
bump.
say, like, a lot of people don't know this, but Jeff Goodman is a guardian angel for college basketball officials. Like, he will not accept that shit. If you go at an official, why do you have such a soft spot for officials? What's the logic there?
I think they're human beings, John. I think they're human beings. And I don't think some people treat them like human beings.
Okay. Okay, that's fair enough. They have a tough job.
Well, no. Look, that's actually a good point because you're obviously referring to Dan Hurley and the beef that we've that you've had.
Got ejected with like 0.4 of a second left.
Yeah, I will say, okay, when he has his biggest blowups, when he is on the sideline and is at the level that he was at today, it's when he knows that his team is not what he needs it to be able to compete at the highest level, right? We saw that in the 21 and 22 seasons when UConn was good enough to make the tournament, but wasn't good enough to win a game in the tournament. We saw that in the 2025 season, when they went out to Maui, the blowups that they had there when he realized, like, oh shit, I'm trying to be a team that can go back to back to back, and I just don't have the horses to be able to do it. And then we saw it tonight because I think it kind of hit home. A season worth of frustration, all of this stuff kind of boiled up, and it was like, I don't have a team that is going to go out there and fight the way that I need to be able to fight in a one-game setting against an 11-19 team to be able to win a Big East championship. And now I've lost back-to-back years to Rick Pitino, who's my arch nemesis, and I'm going to have to deal with that forever. And I think that was a a game's worth of frustration and a season's worth of frustration built up into a blowout. And honestly, like I'm surprised that it took this long to get that kind of reaction out of him from an official.
But because the Big East isn't very good. So like it's masked a lot of those issues. Like they haven't look what you said their record earlier this year. What's their record, Rob? How many games have they lost all year?
4. We've lost
4 games. 4 games. I mean, this was the most embarrassing of them. You know, I was at, I think, the first one, which was at home against UConn, against Arizona, you know, without 2 of their top players. So that one I don't want to say throw out the window, but it was so long ago. There were built-in excuses. You know, again, the St. John's one, that was obviously, you know, not great, but they got St. John's, one of the 2 at least. This one was just against, last I checked, Tyler Kolek and Cam Jones weren't on the floor in that one. This is a bad Marquette team that beat them in a game that UConn had a lot in the line. You know, a number 1 seed was in the line in this one, and they didn't get up for it.
A number 1 seed was on the line. A Big East championship was on the line, and that's what you got.
Yeah,
a 3 for 24 shooting performance with 16 turnovers. Like, and that's why I think you saw the reaction that you saw on the sideline.
Probably.
Yeah. And that's why we wanted to, you know, come on here and salute, you know, now that their season is officially over. You know, we'll try to pick up the pieces in the off season and we'll go from there. All right.
They might as well not even be in the tournament. Yeah. I wouldn't.
100%. I think they should opt out and let
you sound like me. Honestly, like this is what I sound like in the group. Like, just cancel the season. It's over. Don't even.
I know.
Why even show up to the Garden? Just give Chris Holtman and DePaul the victory in the first round of the Big East tournament. Let's pack it up.
Exactly.
Let's hit the portal.
He would take it.
Holtman would take it. 2026. All right. Purdue lost again in Mackey. It has been a rough year for the mystique of Mackey, and it has been a rough year for the preseason number 1 ranked Purdue Boilermakers. Again, lose another one tonight in a you know, run and gun, helter-skelter game. Tons of points scored. Purdue falls just short. Jeff, I'll come to you first. Again, this Purdue team is slipping and sliding. 2-4 since I know you guys got a chance to see them there against Iowa. Just going the wrong way as we are heading into the postseason, these Boilermakers.
Yeah, I mean, they can't guard. I mean, they were horrible. You know, you looked at it and Cam Jones did whatever. I mean, not Cam Jones. Sorry. Nick Boyd did whatever the hell he wanted down the stretch. Whatever he wanted. He just got to the basket. Didn't matter. Nobody could stay in front of him. And they don't really have any rim protection. That's the other thing is like, you know, Oscar Klupp was brought in to give him another big to play with Trey Kaufman-Renn. And he takes up space, but he's not really a rim protector, right? He's not a big-time shot alterer. He's big, he's strong, plays hard, but he wasn't the right guy to me to bring in. Now, they got him because, you know, they got him for a discount. Like, he didn't go for what a lot of other big men that, you know, did what he did at South Dakota State would go for. But he wasn't ideal for what this team needed. This team needed more athleticism. We've been saying this for a few years. But defensively, they were a joke tonight. I mean, between Blackwell and Boyd, those guys were just running circles around Purdue's perimeter. You know, like and that's the thing. Like, Lawyer can't really – he's not very good defensively. Braden's not very good defensively. So right now, the problem is, again, if you don't have somebody down low, when you had Zach Edey, made up for a lot of mistakes on the perimeter in terms of defensive.
Yeah, I don't in principle, I don't disagree with anything that you just said about Purdue's defense and about some of those guys. And like, yes, this is a flawed roster. And you know, we've made those points before. Like, it's hard to upgrade in the portal when your 3 best players are limited athletically. It's hard to get more athletic, right? Like, Braden Smith, Fisher Lawyer, and Trey Kaufman got to be on the floor. So how are you going to get more athletic when your 3 best players are the ones that need to be upgraded athletically? To me, this was about Wisconsin. Like, say whatever you want about Purdue. Yes, there's question marks there. Nick Boyd went nuts. Okay? Like, yes, They probably should have been. Purdue should have been a little bit better from keeping him from getting to his left hand, and like there were some straight line drives there. And Oscar Clough isn't the best drop coverage defender in the world. And this, that, and third. Like some of the shots that Nick Boyd was hitting were absolutely ridiculous. Like that was Nick Boyd saying, "I'm going to go win this game. I'm going to take this battle with Braden Smith 1-on-1, and I'm going to go win it." They went 18 for 34 from three. 18 for 34 from three. Like at some point, you got to give credit to them. Like Wisconsin is a team where whatever, I could see them going to the Final Four. I could see them losing in the first round of the tournament. I can see both of those things happening. Now, I'm probably going to have them going too far in my bracket just because I absolutely adore teams that have bigs that can shoot and guards that can get to the rim. But man, that is, if you look at what they've done this season, like I think you really have to give Wisconsin a lot of credit. They have won at Michigan, which is like impossible. Nobody wins at Michigan.
But Purdue was the preseason #1 team, so that's why the focus is on
but
their.
We know, like Purdue is Purdue. Purdue is what they are, right? It's the same thing as UConn.
But
like
I
we
mean,
know
they're not. They're not what we thought they were. Right? They're not what we thought they were.
Yeah, no shit. I said Purdue is what they are. We can have this conversation. We can repeat the same conversation we've had every single time that they've lost a game for the last 6 weeks. We know what this Purdue team is. They're a second weekend team. It is what it is. Like we can repeat the same stuff over and over again.
Maybe not. They might not even be a second weekend team.
Whatever. Like,
I don't have a lot of confidence right now.
Guys,
right.
Wisconsin
they're depressing. They're depressing to watch. I mean, they really
Wisconsin has won. Wisconsin has won at Michigan. They've won at Illinois. They've beaten Michigan State, and they've won at Purdue. And we're sitting here talking about how bad Purdue. Like, did you see them make those?
Purdue was an 8.5-point favorite tonight. I mean, that they were favored.
Nick Boyd had one shot where he lost the ball on the way up and flipped it up over his head like this and banked it in. And it was the shot that put him up by 3 with, I think, like 45 seconds left. He had like 3 shots like that. What Nick Boyd did down the stretch of that game in one of the toughest environments to be played that you're going to find.
Now, Rob's right. Rob is right. We should be giving Wisconsin their flowers instead of crushing Purdue. We've done this time and time again over the last few weeks. I mean, really, since the interview. That was.
It was the interview heard around the world.
Maybe it was foreshadowing. I don't know. I mean, Braden was miserable in that interview.
I think you put a curse on the. I think you did something. I think you put a curse on the Boilermakers after that or during that interview.
No, it might have been when I dropped the Hummel bobblehead and it broke. That might have been the curse on Purdue.
No question. You're putting like bobby pins in the Hummel, bobblehead. So take them out. Take them out. You're putting it in the crotch. Losing on senior night at home. That was a brutal way to end it there at Mackey for those guys. All right, we're going to come back with Rocco Miller. And Rob has a laundry list.
The real Rocco.
The Rocco. No imitator. The Rocco. So he's going to join us, and we're going to pepper him with some questions about everything that went on today, who won the day, who lost the day, that 4th #1 seed, Rob's question about UConn, all that and more on the other side. Field of 68 After Dark.
We are running it back with Splash Sports, ladies and gentlemen. Last year, the Survivor contest that we hosted with Splash paid out $40,000 to the winner. This year, the grand prize pays out a guaranteed $100K. For just $25 an entry and up to 133 entries, you can get a chance to prove that you are smarter than the Field of 68. Survivor is the future of March Madness. Just pick one team every day of the tournament to win, and if they do, you advance. The catch? You can only use each team once. We're also hosting a free-to-enter bracket on Splash. If you're looking to host one of your own, Splash can handle everything for you, from the entries to the payouts to the standings. We'll be running it back with the Sweet 16 Survivor contest as well for those that do not survive the first weekend. And Splash is now offering Quick Picks, a daily fantasy game that allows you to predict whether a player reaches a certain number on a specific stat. All links are in the description below. The big dance starts soon. Get in before it tips off.
Are you trying to follow everything happening in college basketball? It can be overwhelming. That's where the Field of 68 Daily comes into play. The Daily is your go-to source for recruiting news, game analysis, portal updates, and much, much more. For just $50 a year, you get access to the same information that your favorite coaching staff is subscribed to. Quality content can be hard to find in the college basketball space. The Daily is here to help. Make sure you subscribe today.
Welcome back. Field of 68 After Dark. John
There he
Martin,
is.
Rob Dauster, Jeff Goodman, and there he is, the man of the hour, Rocco Miller. We've located him. We've found him. We've got him set up, and he's going to help us figure out what we need to know heading into the final night of the regular season here in college basketball. So, Rocco, I'll just kick this off. I know these guys are going to ask about specific teams, but I'll do it this way. Who was the biggest winner, in your opinion, on Saturday?
Good to be on with you guys. What's up, John and fellas? First, before I address that question, I just got to say I came on right before the last break ended, and I thought for sure you were talking about Johnny Dawkins because UCF has not won a game since Goodman interviewed Johnny Dawkins. I was confused, but I guess we got multiple.
That's what he
does.
Got
multiple jinx going on here. But yeah, I think you guys know the answer to that. The Florida Gators are kind of that. Sorry, Rob, but they're the clear-cut choice now to be the fourth number one seed, probably for the second straight year, barring any stunners. I know Arizona, I haven't seen a score lately, was struggling early with Colorado, but I mean, at this point, Arizona could probably lose to Colorado and still be a one seed because UConn's loss to Marquette is arguably Arizona was safer than UConn, so I think they would be about equal, but Arizona should hang on. So Florida's the big winner of the day across the board. John, I know you'll ask about the losers, but all you got to do is look at the bubble, man. Like almost the entire bubble lost today, which makes VCU's win at Dayton like all the more important. I think VCU is about as safe as they've ever been today. I'm not even saying they're safe. It's just a lot of these options are not easy to select right now. VCU got a lot easier to select.
Yeah, Rocco, I was going to ask you because a team like NC State, we've kind of assumed that they're in a pretty good position for a long time. And this run of late has not been pretty for them. They lost again today at home to Stanford. Is there any danger of this team being on the wrong side of the bubble when we look up on Selection Sunday?
I think they're going to find a way in, but Dayton is very much in play. A couple of the things that NC State still has going for them, I know it's been really bad lately, but they did a great job buying good mid-major teams that added up. They bought Liberty, beat them by 40. They bought VCU, beat them. Almost every one of their peers on the bubble didn't do stuff like that. And so early on in the bracketology season, NC State was one of the first teams to get 10 quad and 1-2 wins. I think they're the fifth team in the country to get there. And now they've been able to at least sit on those wins. It's almost like a mother hen sitting on the eggs all the way till the finish line. But it's really coming in valuable now because the committee is going to look at this as a body of work. Even their big road wins like at Clemson and at SMU, we thought those were awesome wins at one point. Now we don't even know if SMU is a tournament team. Clemson might not even be wearing white on the first day of the tournament. And then so they're really getting in on these quad wins. They've built up a 15-11 record when you take away quad 4. But don't forget, they have a quad 4 loss to Georgia Tech. So NC State's very dicey. I just think when you see, if you were seeing what I'm seeing right now and you see all the other bubble options, they're still a little bit more attractive, if you can believe it.
Mm-hmm.
All right, we're going to run through a few more, so you got to tighten it up a little bit. I know that's not
tighten
your
it
strength,
up, Rocco.
Tighten it up. All right,
not my strength.
Here we go.
Insane.
All right,
Insane.
My daughter's Indiana Hoosiers. Any shot?
Out.
Any shot at this point? How far do they have to go in the Big Ten tournament?
They got to get at least to the third day, win at least 2, and then we can revisit it. I think they felt they were about a game behind today. Today's win would have got them about to where they needed to be to barely sneak in. Now they're a couple games behind. So get me to the third day of the Big Ten tournament, and then we can revisit.
Keep going, Jeff.
Yeah, I mean,
keep going.
We're going around the horn here. All right. Ohio State, are they a lock? Is Ohio State a lock now?
They should be. They should be. As crazy as it is. I mean, I just came on here last week with you guys, and we were all like, they're done. And now all of a sudden they're a lock. So I don't want to call them a lock. You tried to fire Jake
Diebler on here, Rocco. You tried to fire Jake Diebler.
Clearly, I don't have the power, Rob. I tried, failed miserably. But Ohio State just winning these games, I mean, that makes them different than most of the bubble. Most of the bubble are not winning any games. And so even though it's a home win, they picked up a decent road win along the way, like at Penn State. But even that matters when the bubble's like really performing so poorly. So Ohio State in a great spot. I'll say at least 80% because I hate the word lock.
Rocco, they got to contract. I mean, got to go back to 64. The bubble today was a joke, an absolute joke. I mean, no, it was. Everybody lost. Everybody lost. Texas A&M, luckily, they got one, a triple overtime win in Buckyball. Does that put them on the right side of the – like how good do you feel about Buckyball in the NCAA tournament in year one in College Station?
See, I think they're actually safer than Ohio State because they've been able to do more on the road, and that's more of a traditional stance. But I think the committee still views it that way. They've won at Texas. They've won at Georgia, right? That's better than anywhere Ohio State's won. Ohio State's best road win is Northwestern. So it's pretty easy to take Texas A&M over Ohio State, even though Ohio State's clearly playing better currently. And if you're in the SEC, we learned last year, you're probably going to get the benefit of the doubt, just being real about it. College sports is changing before our eyes, guys. So I'm really tired of fighting the SEC. I'm losing those battles.
Yep.
Are you going to stick a fork in Auburn today? Is that it? Is that it for Auburn?
They have to. Yeah, man. Jeff, they have to have a fork. There's never been a team in history with 16 losses to be selected. I imagine if it's ever going to happen, it's going to be an SEC team. So I guess I have to give them 1 to 10% chance, but it's never happened before. And another thing is a team.
I don't have a fork.
I
don't have a fork, but I have chopsticks. All right, so I'm going to stick chopsticks in Auburn right now. I'm going to officially chopsticks in Auburn. They're out.
The craziest thing is like Auburn. Their whole case was like they had to play against Bediako. Well, guess what? They got to play against a non-Bediako team, and they were much worse. So now what's the argument?
Worse, yeah.
That's a great call.
Yep.
That's actually a great call. I didn't think about that.
That's why we have Rocco on the network. That's why, because he consistently makes great calls.
Hey, Rocco.
Appreciate that, John.
What about SMU? Did SMU just get booped on the bubble?
They've been on the bubble. I felt like the home loss to Miami, and of course getting swept out here in the Bay Area last week put them in some danger. Now they go to Florida State. They're not even that competitive. Florida State dominated that game. And you look at SMU now, they're 3-8 in road games with their best road win at Wake Forest. It's a really dicey proposition on the bubble. Their home wins against North Carolina and Louisville were good. And they, of course, North Carolina was full strength back then. They have a neutral court win against A&M. You could still probably take them, but they have a really poor record away from home, 4-9 overall. Right now they're not a team I would give a tournament grade in favor of if I'm just grading them individually. So I don't think SMU's played their way in at all.
You got anything, John?
We're being told to ask about Texas as well.
Texas, yeah, they lost today.
Yeah. I think Texas is going to hang on. Again, tired of fighting the SEC, but they won at Alabama. They won at Missouri. They have an NC State win on neutral court. That actually matters a lot now because they're in the same ballpark as NC State. Played each other, I think, for third place in the Maui Invitational, or fifth place, actually. They also beat Vanderbilt and Georgia at home. So there's a nice list of wins, at least with Texas, that you can hang your hat on. That same Oklahoma team they lost to, they actually beat Oklahoma on the road. So in a committee setting, you can argue that kind of cancels each other out. I think Texas is going to be okay.
Rocco,
is the bubble? Let me hit him with one overall. Is the bubble any different this year than it has been? Because every year I feel like I say the same thing: the bubble sucks. The bubble sucks. The bubble sucks. Is it any different or no?
Yeah, I mean, it's not much different. I mean, the majority of the time, what I try to remind people all the time is they're bubble teams for a reason. They're usually going to play themselves out. Today just happened to be a day where virtually everybody tried to play themselves out. There was some big opportunities. Like, I don't want to diss on Virginia Tech. I thought they really fought hard in the second half, but they just fell short. Oklahoma State had a great effort to try to get into this thing, but Houston was just too much down the stretch. So it wasn't all bad. I thought New Mexico fought really hard at Utah State, but it just didn't work out. Yeah. It wasn't all bad. But at the end of the day, I'm looking at my board right now, and there's 2 open spots. I have no idea who to put in there. It'd be great to get a couple of bid steals next week. I mean, they're just sitting there like for anybody to take. 2 openings.
Rocco's got a
man.
field of 66. Rocco said we don't need
Yes.
these last 2 bubble teams. We got a field of 66.
That's right.
All right, real
That's
quick,
right.
two seeding questions for you. Wisconsin goes on the road and beats Purdue. They've won at Michigan. They won at Illinois. They beat Michigan State, and now they've won at Purdue. How big is that win for them, and where can they climb to on the seed line?
Yeah, those top 3 wins are really strong. And we heard the committee talk in the bracket preview. I thought Keith Gill was phenomenal, by the way. One of the best chairman, at least speakers I've ever heard. He's awesome. And those top 3 wins matter. So they go Michigan, Illinois, Purdue now. That nobody's going to beat that comparison in that range of the seeds. So they probably should be a 5 seed. There's a lot of noise around the 5 line. They're at least a 6. But as teams fall, they just keep that in mind that Wisconsin's going to win a lot of arguments now in the room. But they did take 9 losses. They're just a 500 team in quad 1. You know, they lost at home to USC. That's not aging very well if you see the USC score tonight. So there's definitely some bad with Wisconsin, but typically that much good will certainly outweigh the bad.
Miami of Ohio,
Rocco.
quickly. Miami of Ohio, what seed can we expect from them if they win their league tournament?
Yeah, like I'm looking at like Ken Palm and all that, and they're in the 80s still, like 90s in some cases. I think they're going to stick on an 11 personally, but we'll see what happens if they win the MAC tournament. And then I think we revisit it. If you just see them on the resume, they're like a 7 or an 8. So this will be a pretty fascinating situation. But I don't really have the guts to, because of Drake and UC San Diego, Jeff, last year, they did not do those teams any favors. And I think they'll do the same thing to Miami, Ohio.
Rocco, thank you for joining us from parts unknown. Always great to catch up. You're the best in the business. Have a great weekend, man.
Appreciate it.
Thanks, Rocco.
Anytime, fellas.
Appreciate
It's
it,
good to be
Rocco.
on with you. Of course.
Rocco Miller,
He
bracketologist, parts
is the
unknown.
best, honestly.
Oh,
we
he's
say
the best.
it
He's
in jest. Nobody is better than that dude when it comes
no
to
one says
practice.
it in jest.
Nobody.
No one ever said that in jest. We meant it completely.
Go,
All right.
toast.
Toast, Rob, go. 30 seconds or less. Here we go. Boom.
Duquesne, one of 4 teams in the history of college basketball to come back from down 30 points and win.
LIU,
All right, Jeff.
Rod Strickland punches his ticket a little bit differently, but they're in LIU. In.
Fins up. Can we do the fins up?
Fins up, baby.
Come on, fins up. That's going to do it for us on Sirius XM. Stick with us on the afters on YouTube.
These my DJ Burn shades I had for.
That was like taking them into the depths of Alaska and just dropping them off.
The first person that's gonna die has got to be one of the black guys. They're not gonna make it to the end of the movie.
That's like asking somebody, do they want to get a prostate exam or a damn gunshot wound?
Oh, we'll talk about it. We have a sponsor, Voodoo Ranger. All right. It's not technically
Hell yeah,
the
we did it.
Imperial IPA. Voodoo Ranger, the G-Force, is the one that's sponsoring us. So here we go, Dagan. Let's run the ad for Voodoo Ranger.
Hey everyone, Jeff Goodman here, and I'm excited to tell you about what's going on with our partners at Voodoo Rangers. You know what makes March even better? Chaos. That 111 seed that nobody believed in suddenly ruining everyone's weekend. And this year, Voodoo Ranger wants you to bet on 11. Grab a can of G-Force IPA with 11% ABV, then register that beer at bet11.com. If an 11 seed advances, you have a chance to win a juicy prize, $11,000. We're also taking a trip to Vegas, exclusive G-Force merch. And if an 11 seed pulls off an upset, 1,100 fans could win cash for their next round. It's the juiciest bet of the tournament. No brackets, no stress, just cold beer and beautiful chaos. Visit beton11.com to enter. Win or lose, still got beer. Learn more at bet11.com. You must be 21 or older. No alcohol purchase necessary. Legal in all 50 states. Full rules at beton11.com.
Love it. Welcome, Voodoo Ranger, to the Field of 68 family. There is nowhere Goodman is better than talking about drinking alcohol and Voodoo Ranger beer specifically. So
True.
you looked fantastic. Welcome
Thank
into
you.
the afters. This is going to be a world record afters. Rob has just told us we're going to go until 1:45 Eastern time. It is going to be, we're going to set the record here.
We're at least
I'm
going
joking.
until Nolan Smith shows up. Tennessee State's Nolan Smith.
That's right.
I
Shout
heard
out to
a rumor
Nolan
that
Smith.
he might be here. Even
All
if
right.
it takes until tomorrow, we'll be here until Nolan Smith shows up.
Jeez.
Rob, there's a point you wanted to get to on LIU that we didn't get to in the toasts.
No, give it to Dagan. It's Dagan. It's Dagan's
Oh,
world. He's got a question.
Dagan had something on LIU.
In my thunder. We know that we need to talk about LIU.
Thunder.
We know we need to talk about Tennessee State. We got it, Rob. Don't worry. It's all good.
Okay,
So
well-
we're gonna wait though.
Yeah.
Until we have Nolan Smith, and then
Okay.
we'll talk about the ticket punch together. We'll lump them together. So while we wait, we'll move to some other games of note. So one we didn't get to in the SEC is Arkansas's win over Missouri without Darius Acuff. Let's talk about that for a little
Ooh,
bit.
buddy. Big one. Huge. That was a grow-up win for Arkansas on the road.
Yeah. No, I think so. I mean, again, I thought DJ Wagner played really well in this game. And that was critical because you thought, like, without Acuff, how much are they playing for? Missouri's playing for their life. Now, again, they had opportunities to win that game. And if Missouri wins that game, they're probably locked in right now. Or now you might, again, like Rocco said, who knows what happens with bid stealers at this point, too. Like, remember, a couple of years ago, didn't we have like 5 or 6 bid stealers?
It was,
If
it
it's
was
one of
3.
those years. What's
It
that?
was 3 bid stealers. We had,
That's
I
all
think
it
we had
was?
3 bid stealers.
It was like a record a few years ago. It was like 5. No? I don't know. All right. Anyway, whatever the case, there are a bunch of bid stealers. And that's where Missouri not winning this game today could end up costing them. I don't know. I mean, they've lost games now at Oklahoma. Now, Oklahoma beat Texas today. They're finishing strong, trying to keep Porter Moser's job here. But, Missouri's 20-11, 10-8 in the league. They're Ken Palm's 50. They're probably right on the fringe there. But, yeah, I mean, listen, Trevor Brazile came up big again. He played well. Anytime he
massive
plays well,
three. Massive three in that game.
Anytime he plays well, I think they have a chance. I do. I just think they're so much better because I think he can be an energy giver or kind of, suck the energy out of the game sometimes when he doesn't play with emotion, when he's not making shots. And sometimes, to be honest, I think his offense really does affect his defense. When he's making shots, he's so much more active defensively.
Rob, get in here.
I thought it was a
Get in
good
here on the
experience
big.
for. Yeah, I thought it was a really good opportunity for some of those guards to really get reps in like critical minutes without Darius Acuff on the floor, right? Like at the end of the day, we kind of know what Arkansas is, right? Like what did this game really mean for them? Like maybe it moves you up a seed in the SEC tournament, like which is like whatever. They're gonna have to beat some.
I mean, spiritually, it can mean something. It can mean something spiritually.
Yeah, and
spiritually,
and maybe.
Yeah.
Okay. Like, what do you think it could mean spiritually?
Well, they went on the road without their best player and found a way to win in the SEC. Like that's something I think
like
you
confidence.
take.
So like confidence, you mean?
Well, yeah, I mean, you could say that, but like I would rather go with spiritual. You know, I mean,
you know what? I was about to get mad at you for making a dumb point, but like I completely agree. Like I'm not even joking. I completely agree.
It's because
like,
it's not a dumb point. It's because it's a good point.
DJ Wagner and Malik Thomas won that game for them down the stretch, right? Like making big plays. Trevon Brazile a little bit too, but it was like DJ Wagner and Malik Thomas, who are two guys that have kind of been pushed into significantly complementary roles with the way that Darius Acuff is kind of developed into like this star, right? And getting them reps on the road in a game where like Arkansas had a lead and Missouri came running back. Like this is crunch time pressure moments. Like they got real actual reps in those moments and made the plays that they needed to make to be able to win. And I think that's really good. Like, seriously, really good for Arkansas long term. You don't want to have to just rely on Darius Acuff getting you 28 points and 13 assists to be able to beat the best teams in college basketball. He could do it, but if that's the only thing that you're relying on to be able to have a chance to make a run here, it can turn you into a little bit of a one-dimensional team. And seeing Malik Thomas go for 28 in this moment, go for 5 or 6 from 3, seeing DJ Wagner do some of like the glue guy connective stuff to be able to help them win a basketball game, I thought was good. I thought it matters. Like I was seriously, John, I was going to be like, what are you talking about spiritual? Like this is why you can't trust John Martin in big moments on a show like this. But you know what? You came through. You delivered.
This is why you need to stick a fork in John Martin or a chopstick.
No, you can't. You can't. You've already used those chopsticks on Auburn. You can't use them on me. They're occupied.
All right. I have another pair though. I have 2 pairs of chopsticks.
Why does this guy have so many chopsticks? What's he doing over there?
That's how you know you ordered too much sushi. When you order sushi for one, when you order sushi for one and they give you 2 sets of chopsticks, that means that you need to go on a diet and you ordered too much food. This is a fact. I learned this the hard way. Okay, you ordered too much food. Order less next time, Goodman.
Well, we have some exciting stuff coming on that front with Jeff. We look forward to announcing it soon. All right, what's next, Dagan?
All right, now, fellas, is the time we're going to talk about our tickets punched from today. So obviously we had Long Island is one, and Tennessee State as well, which we can talk about a little bit right now.
All right,
who's up? LIU first? What are we doing?
Yeah, I mean, Tennessee State breaks a 32-year streak, and they're going back to the NCAA tournament for the first time since 1994. Rob Dauster.
Yeah, I think it's a really cool story for Nolan Smith, who has kind of bounced around as an assistant since he left Duke. Landed at Tennessee State, landed at the program, and his first year there has been able to get this team to the NCAA tournament. And I think we're going to be joined here by Nolan Smith, who has led Tennessee State to the NCAA tournament. Nolan, do we have you here? There he is.
Yes, sir. I'm here.
Yeah.
What's up, y'all?
What's up, man?
Foremost, man, congratulations on a fantastic first season down there at Tennessee State.
Man, I appreciate it. Yeah, it was exciting year. We've gone.
The good thing is that your players could shoot the ball a little bit better than you could from 3 tonight in the first half. There, they were scorching, man. Every time I'm watching, like, what was it in the first half? It was like 11 of 13 or something. It was crazy.
11, 13 in the first half.
Right? Something like that. I don't know. Every time I looked up, you were making a 3.
12 for 15 in the first half.
12 for 15. Oof. Crazy. What's this been like? I'm going to ask you the tough question because that's what I do. Yep. We've known each other since you were, 15 years old, probably?
Yes.
What has this road been like for you, Nolan? Because I know it wasn't easy. You left Duke as an assistant coach. You went to Louisville. It was not easy. Then you go to Memphis, better, and then you get an opportunity. Finally, I thought you were going to get it about 3 years ago, but you got it at Tennessee State. You got it late. And to be able to go to the tournament tonight in your first year, the emotions, what was it like, honestly?
Honestly, right now, it really hasn't even sunk in what we were able to do. First, I'm just so proud of my team. We accomplished something that hasn't been done here at Tennessee State in 32 years. So I'm just extremely proud of them. And, I think when I get back to my hotel room and finally get a little bit of quiet time, I'll be able to just really understand what my staff and I were able to do. But again, what we were able to bring in here was just a winning culture. Everybody that's on my staff has won before as a player and as a coach. They've all coached for legendary coaches and just instilling just the winning ways. And these guys buying in right away, playing defense, being unselfish, being selfless. And that's really what it came down to tonight. And these guys were built for it all season long. And now we're just excited to, get ready to see where we're going in the NCAA tournament.
Nolan, obviously, Jeff mentioned you get the job in July, you get it late there, and leave Memphis to take it. And Dante Harris, who you coached at Memphis last year, joins you. He was big tonight, 4 of 8 from 3. I think he finished with 20. How pivotal was it bringing him over with you, knowing what he could do in that year at Memphis, and just having a point guard like that in your first season?
Yeah, it was huge having him. Coming in, I looked at the roster before I accepted the job. I knew I had some big time players on the roster: Aaron Nkrumah, Travis Harper, and really when I first looked at the team, I knew the missing piece was a true point guard, a veteran, a floor general, a guy that defends and can score. And obviously, I was very familiar with him. So, being able to get him at the time that I got him, he's been the glue for this team all season long on both ends of the floor and just helping us grow. And when we've taken a loss, he's been the veteran in the locker room. He got close with this group with a lot of returners. He threw himself into winning because he is a winner, and it just kind of put everything together.
What was the first step, Nolan, when you get the job and it's July, and at this point, most other programs have had 2 months with their coaching and their coaching staff and the players to kind of get to know each other. What's the first step when you get in there? Is it just like put name tags on everybody and try to figure out who they are?
Definitely. That's definitely the first step, for me and my staff, getting to know the players, taking them to lunch, taking them to dinner, whether it's individually, collectively, groups, getting them to know us, know our hearts, and know where we're coming from as coaches. And once we got that complete buy-in, what we were able to do is just really just instill what we do, which is win. And when they understood, obviously that was the mission. This doesn't so much surprise us as a staff that we were able to accomplish this year, because what we do with our players, the confidence that we give them, the way we let them play free, the way they defend, being a top 10 team in the country and steals all season long, being able to just get all that together very quickly. Again, hiring a staff when I did, getting the guys that I got at the time was perfect timing, that all of them just happened to be available. We were able to get the job done and just teach and coach. But again, it comes down to the positivity and love that we gave these guys and the confidence that we give them between the lines.
So I've told you this story. I don't know if you remember it, but I sat down with your dad in Boston years ago. I was probably like 17 years old in high school, and your dad agreed to do an interview with me. God knows why, but he did. 17 years old at the Copley Marriott in Boston. The nicest dude ever. And for those that don't know, he's no longer with us. But how proud of you do you think he'd be right now, Nolan?
I think he'd be extremely proud, because what I've done as a head coach to come in right away and instill the toughness, the togetherness, and just being a rock. That's what everybody that I know, from Charles Barkley, Jim Lynam, Juwan Howard, all those guys, the stories they tell about my dad is that as a coach and as a player, he was a rock. And that's the culture that we've created here. We've created just some tough kids, tough young men that just really bought into winning, and that my dad would be extremely proud of that.
Yeah, he would, right, man. He would. Trust me. He definitely would.
Nolan, last one I got for you. So the gentleman that you see there above Jeff is a Tennessee native, and he's kind of disenfranchised with the program that he has supported since he was a child. And he wants to know, he's afraid to ask, but he wants to know if he can jump on that Tennessee State bandwagon. Can he be a Tiger? Is he allowed to be a fan of this program moving forward? Can he root for you guys in the first round of the NCAA tournament like he graduated from that university?
Come on, absolutely. Absolutely. We definitely accept you on our bandwagon. Jump on, let's go.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm in Memphis, and they miss you, Nolan, as you know. So it's been a rough year, but congrats on all the success up there. Obviously, a great first year and ending that 32-year streak, man. All the best. Thanks for joining us.
Go celebrate, man.
So much.
You earned it.
Man, appreciate
Congrats,
you.
man.
Thank y'all.
Congrats.
Appreciate it.
Awesome stuff. That's Nolan Smith. Yeah,
I
obviously
am
an assistant
happy
coach.
for him, Goodman. Like I'm legitimately happy for him because it hasn't been the easiest road for him since he got out of.
So he made one of the most baffling coaching decisions we'll look back on. Could have completely derailed his coaching career. Let's face it. He left Duke where things are set up that you're going to get a chance, right? If you're on that staff, you're going to get a chance to be a head coach. Well, he went with Kenny Payne, who was a childhood, friend of his father's. Derek Smith for years. They played together at Louisville. He went with him, and obviously it backfired. It completely backfired, and it was a disaster at Louisville. And he was able to kind of get back on his feet at Memphis. That really kind of saved him, to be honest. Goes to Memphis. They're pretty good last year, and he's able to get a head coaching job. And, one thing we didn't ask him that probably was a bit of a culture shock for him was like, all right, there's a guy who had played at Duke, who had coached at high majors, and now you're coaching a low major. And like, what are the bus rides like? Probably hasn't had to do those, a lot of them over the course of his career.
Hey, I'll tell you what, we can ask him that question when we get him on after they win their first round game in the NCAA tournament and send John Martin home happy.
I was so worried about where that question from Dauster was going to go, by the way. I was so worried. I thought he was going to ask me to take the next question.
John Martin, I'm going to ask you this question now. I am going to ask you this question. If Memphis does move off Penny Hardaway, which is a legitimate question to ask right now, a legitimate question where it could go either way. We don't know if Penny's going to be the coach next year or not. Would you sign up today for Nolan Smith being the next coach of the Memphis Tigers? Because he was critical in last year's success.
Yeah, I mean, I think as just an update on that, what I heard over the weekend is that Ed Scott is crowdsourcing ambassadors right now on just their opinion of what they should do. I don't know that they will have the money. So I think that's kind of the hang up right now. It's $6 million to buy out Penny. And then, of course, there is a cost associated with the next coach. So I think as of right now, they are short, but they are not decided. So it is very much up in the air. But look, I think Nolan would have to be on the list of candidates. And I think in a place like Memphis now, if this was 2009 when Cal left, I would say there's just no way you're hiring the Tennessee State coach. I don't care what he did. But I think in this new landscape where, you're playing in an American conference where you're just irrelevant for 3 months out of the year. It's just, and you don't have the budget, frankly, that the top 30 programs in the country have. Yeah, I mean, you have to take shots on guys. I think that's your best course. And so I think Nolan would be on that list. Would he be my first choice? Probably not, but I think he's definitely somebody that you have to bring up.
Who would be your first choice? Because the advantage Nolan has is he was there. He knows the situation. Like that's a major advantage. Yeah, I know he was only there for a year, but it was a successful year.
I mean, I think a guy like Kevin Keats would actually be a really good hire for Memphis. I think.
Okay.
He's and the reason I say that is because look, I know we can call it an outlier or fluke, whatever, but he did go to a Final Four, so he brings that. And then I think it's an easy sell in terms of, look, he was at NC State. They didn't have money. Of course, they're going to get beat up by North Carolina and Duke. It's going to be the inverse for him at a place like Memphis where he has the most money in the league. So I think that's a name and it's a credible sell. Now, again, there's lots of coaches out there. I'm not dead set, but I think that's the kind of guy that I would probably try to get first.
You want a little bit more of a veteran. Yeah.
Yes. Because you went the Penny route, unproven, and it
Nolan's just been an assistant, at least a high major assistant for a while, and he's got a year head coaching experience. Penny's experience was what? Tell everyone, what was Penny's experience?
High school and
AU.
High school.
Right.
No, Nolan is on the list, brother. Nolan's on the list. So, I'm not closed off to that at all. I think you're getting the guy on the come up. I like that. He's not going to be here for a long time. But as I explain to people all the time, most jobs like this now, it's going to be a 2-3 year blow by and they're moving up. And that's okay. That's the way it is for most programs. So I would be totally fine with Nolan. But I don't know that the job's going to open. I don't.
if you're good enough, you're in your Utah State or your VCU, which is what Memphis should strive to be, that level of program in the American, then it doesn't matter. Like you should be built where you have, as long as you get a good coach, the institutional structures are there that you should be able to win. Tell Goodman who my name was for you on the radio show that got me crushed by.
Oh yeah, he came on Friday and he mentioned that, well, your most realistic option was Steve Forbes.
Yeah, I would have liked it 6 years ago, but I think it's hard to hire a guy that's 0 for 6, and a lot of people feel like,
that's a tough one. That's a tough one.
Be worthy of a 7th year.
I like Steve a lot.
I mean, there aren't many guys. Yeah. Rob, you went through the list of guys.
I did the list. I'll just say this about Forbes. I still think he can coach, and I think you put a guy that was at a JUCO and was at East Tennessee State at a place that was a high academic institution, and now if you can go put him at Memphis, where like the bar to get accepted into the university is not what it was at Wake Forest, as evidenced by the gentleman sitting in the middle of this panel right now. No, in all seriousness, I think that he fits Memphis significantly better than he fits a university like Wake Forest, and I think that he would have a ton of success there. But maybe I'm just crazy.
But again, we're speculating about a job that I think is an underdog to come open at this point. So, good is a different question, but I just don't.
You know what might be better? You know what might be better?
You know who else I could hire?
Another year.
You know who else I can hire? Another year of former Memphis assistant. Hey, Goodman, there's another former Memphis assistant that is now heading to the NCAA tournament. Do you know who it is?
It's another
you're
former
talking
Memphis.
It's a long time ago, a long ass time, and I think he was a director of basketball operations. He wasn't even.
I didn't tell you when. I didn't. Yeah, Rod Strickland. He
was a Debo, technically.
Yeah, he was an option.
Yeah,
right.
And that was.
But I will say this.
Yeah,
I actually think
he wasn't an assistant. He's a Debo.
I like this better if they kept Penny for one more year. Now again, it's hard because Memphis fans don't want to hear that if it's another disaster year. But I do think another year for Nolan would probably be more beneficial for him going to Memphis.
But the problem with that is that he's probably going to have better options if it goes, if he has 2 straight tournament appearances. It ain't just going to be Memphis that wants him. That's
100%.
He's going to be.
No, you know what it'll be? You know what it'll be? It'll be Maryland if Buzz Williams fails again.
Totally.
That's what it'll be, back home to Maryland.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's now or never, I think, for him. I mean, that's just, when you're good, you're going to get found. You're going to get discovered.
You roll the dice. You roll the dice. You could also save a lot of money hiring a guy like Nolan Smith. You're not going to have to pay him $3 million a year coming from Tennessee State.
Yep. All right, what's next, Dagan? What have we not hit? I know there's probably a lot.
Yeah, there is a lot. We'll hit one more game quickly, and then we can get into some questions from the chat. I want to talk a little bit about Louisville, Miami, and we can talk about Rob's trap game.
Just disastrous bet. It was a cataclysmic wager. He doesn't want to talk about it.
Robert? Am I talking? Are you going to me on it first? Like, is that what we're doing?
You're the one that bet it.
Yeah, you lost money. You can talk about it. Yeah, sure.
Lost a lot of money, and I should have made most of it back, but Duke decided not to cover it. Sports betting,
anyway,
ups and downs.
It's mostly just.
No, look, I thought, in all seriousness, like, we can make jokes about Louisville, winning this game and trap game and this, that, and the third. I thought that was as good as Louisville has looked offensively in a while, even in some of the games when Michael Brown came out and went nuts, right? Like, it's one thing to have a really good game when Michael Brown goes out there and looks like a top 5 pick, right? It's another thing to have this level of connectivity and to move the ball this well and to get to do what like Pat Kelsey offenses want to do, where you space the floor and you get a paint touch and you kick it out and the ball's spraying and the ball's moving and people are moving and you got Ali Khalifa out here dropping dimes and you got guys making threes. They looked so good offensively in this matchup and the ball moved so well and it was the most fun. It was what we were been waiting to see, a Pat Kelsey offense be able to do. You shoot 50% from three. You have 22 assists with just 7 turnovers on 32 field goals. Like, that is what Pat Kelsey offense should be. And if they can find a way to be able to do that with Michael Brown on the floor as well, so that when things break down, you got a guy that can get to the paint, that can finish, that can do all of that. Like, that's when Louisville gets to be a team that is scary. That's when they are, well, they're a 6 seed in my bracket. I really don't want to see them in the second round. Imagine being the 2 seed and seeing that version of Louisville with Michael Brown at the point guard spot instead of Adrian Woolley. That's a scary thought. That's a scary thought. That's when they become the kind of team that can get to a second round.
You know what's scarier, Rob? The thought that you're not going to see Michael Brown again, which is a real option. Who knows? I mean, I don't know if he's going to come back. He may be done for the year with it. I mean, it's a back injury. It's a back injury at this point. It kept him out for a while. He came back, re-injured it. I'd be surprised if we see him in the ACC tournament, and I think it's maybe a 50-50 shot whether he comes back at all for the NCAA tournament. It sucks. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, that's a big blow. I mean,
well, let me ask you this then. We saw a boost from Kentucky in the immediate aftermath of losing Jalen Lowe, right? Can we see something similar from Louisville in the sense that all of a sudden you don't have a ball dominant guard and they're not in and out of the lineup, in and out, in and out, in and out? I think that this group, look, Adrian Woolley was awesome tonight. 15 points, 6 assists, not a single turnover. Hit the dagger, the game winner. It was like just straight in my heart like this when he hit that step back 3 over, I think it was Dante Allen. But is there a possibility that we can get a little bump from Louisville when they kind of get into this rotation where they know what they got here?
Yeah, because I felt like they had won too many guards anyway. Now, again, I would say like better to have Michael Brown than not have him. but I do feel like what was their biggest strength was their depth on the perimeter. And having a guy like Woolley to come off and be your 4th guard, now he's your 3rd guard, that's a huge advantage. I still don't trust their front court. You know, I've been telling you this since day one with Sananda Frew. Like, I just don't think they're quite good enough. And that's what's going to hold them back. Now, they can beat almost anybody if they make, 12 of 24 threes. They can score with almost anybody. I'm not sure they can beat them, but they can score with just about anybody. My big thing is their defense and rim protection and frontline toughness and size and length and all that. But, yeah, they got enough shooting. We know that.
All right, let's get to the questions, Dagan. What's up?
Well, hold on. I want to go back. You mentioned the health of Michael Brown. Like, is this like it's a real concern that he might not be playing?
Yeah.
He said it was 50-50 that he comes back. That sounds like real concern.
Okay.
All right. We're not talking about it anymore, obviously.
I love when Rob I love when he gets me in a corner like this. And he knows I don't want to talk about something, and he just goes back to it and puts me in this corner where I'm like,
well, all I wanted to see your facial reaction. That's all I wanted to see.
Was there one?
Was there one?
I mean, that was yeah, that was
hey, John, this is why he's not allowed to play poker. This is why he plays blackjack and not poker.
Yes, very true.
We're gonna get him on the tape. We're gonna get him on the poker tables in DC. That's the goal. We got to get him.
Thank you, John, for mentioning that, because we have a question in the chat asking if we were going to be in Indy. So I want to kind of lay out the schedule here for the next couple of weeks.
We'll be in Indy.
For the fans.
Go ahead. It's your show.
So we're going to be in DC first weekend, BetMGM National Harbor. We'll be there doing shows Thursday, Friday, all day long. So you're going to be tired.
How far is that, Dagan? Dagan, how far is that, or Rob, from like Dulles or Reagan? I know they're far.
It's not that far from Reagan.
Reagan's fairly close.
It's a few miles outside of DC proper, but it's outside of the southeast portion of DC. Whereas when you go to visit DC, you tend to be in the northwest portion of DC, right? So it's on the Maryland side of the river. It's to the south. But the National Harbor is awesome. Like anyone that is going to be around, if you're in the DMV area, if you're in Maryland, come down and hang out with us at the BetMGM in the National Harbor. Because if you haven't been to the National Harbor, it's actually beautiful down there. They got a bunch of shops. They got a bunch of restaurants. Come stay at the BetMGM Resort. I was down there on Friday. It's gorgeous down there, man. They have some really, really good restaurants. And I picked out a couple. I got a couple that we're going to have to find a way to be able to get a meal from. Goodman, they got a really good steakhouse down there. So it's nice. Well, and here's the best part.
Are we paying for John?
No, John's got to pay for. John's got to pay for himself. John's got to pay for himself. But John, here's the best news. They got a Nike outlet store. When I checked it out on Friday, they got some good deals. They got some Jordans. They got a lot of ones. They got some 11s there. Be ready to spend some money, man. I'm telling you.
Man, I live in Memphis, bro. Like we have Nike, like all, we have like.
These ones aren't knockoffs though. These are real. These aren't
knockoffs either. The trucks all come through here, man. All right. So we'll be having a field of 68.
But you don't have Jordans there. All you got is pennies. That's all you got.
No,
you got the 1 cent.
And when I get a few Red Bull vodkas in me, I will splash around. So you want to make sure you're on that table because you may be a beneficiary. I'd be giving it out like Robin Hood.
I can
I get back to the schedule now, folks?
I'm sorry. Yeah. Well, I mean, don't blame me. Don't blame me for that shit.
Also, I don't know where Rob plans on going to do this eating and shopping. We have a 12-hour show all day long. So I'm not really sure where you plan on doing all that.
But he's got to have a break. Remember, he's got a whole schedule out.
That's true.
He's got a break.
That's true. We'll be live the first 2 days of the tournament all day long. Second weekend we'll be in DC as well. I'm not sure if we have a spot locked in, if we do or not, but we'll be there at DC.
Tonic at Quigley's Pharmacy on Thursday night and on Saturday night. We'll be hanging out there. We'll be doing our shows from there. We'll be watching the games there, so make sure you come over. Tonic at Quigley's Pharmacy, June 21st in Washington, D.C. It's my old bar, man. It's where I invented tachos. I might get behind the bar and make you a drink, Goodman.
And then finally, we'll be in Indy from Wednesday till Monday night. Tom's Watch Bar.
Great spot. Oh, what a good spot. Tom's Watch Bar is elite. I'm not kidding. It's about a year old. Anybody listening, like if you're down there for the Final Four in Indy, you have to come. This will be by far the best spot we've ever had it at the Final Four. TVs everywhere, unbelievable location, good food, everything. Like I'm telling you, Tom's Watch Bar is going to be awesome.
Look, it is awesome, but you didn't have to go shit on the places. Like we were at some cool spots in Houston. We had some like the Huss Brewing was awesome in Phoenix.
Together.
Like we've had some great spots.
Together.
Tom's is awesome.
But
why did you have to shit on all these other places? We're never going to be invited to Alibis again. The Alibis in San Antonio is going to see you coming. They're going to say Goodman's got to go. He's done.
I liked Alibis. Alibis was good.
We won't mention the other place.
Okay.
We don't need to do that. So there's our schedule for the next couple of weeks. So that'll be posted on social media. So keep an eye there to come visit and hang out with us as well. Moving on. Next question. This was asked earlier in the chat. I forget by who, so I apologize. But basically, they want to know your most surprising team and your most disappointing team now that we are basically at the end of the regular season. So let's
I like that.
do that.
I like that. I actually like that a lot.
For the whole season?
Yes. The whole shebang, Robert.
I answered
let's start with you guys.
Yeah, you guys go first. I answered this the other night.
I would say surprise for me has to be Nebraska. Has to be Nebraska for me. I just didn't see it coming. I don't think anybody did. Everybody had Fred Hoiberg on the hot seat again. A couple of years ago, people thought he was going to be fired. And it was like, maybe they could do it. Well, the injury to Rink Mast last year proved to really help them this year because they caught fire early and, they've slowed down, but you're still talking about a team that last I checked was and I'm going to pull out my little sheet of paper here with all the fielding the 68 info in it. And they were a 3 seed in our fielding the 68. 3 seed. I mean, that's crazy. That is the biggest surprise. And I don't even think it's debatable. I honestly don't.
John,
You want to try to debate it? Try to debate it, John.
I mean, I would say Virginia for me.
Okay.
I mean, I just didn't think Ryan Odom in his first year would be able to contend. I know they didn't win the ACC, obviously, but contend the way they did. They started the season like 59th at KenPom. They're all the way up to 20th. So I would say I did not expect. I mean, I thought he'd be good, but I didn't expect him to have it rolling to the degree that it's rolling already. So I would say Virginia's in that. I mean, because they were obviously awful under Ron Sanchez a year ago. So to turn that around the way he has, it's been pretty damn quick. So I'd say Virginia for me has been a surprise.
I actually thought Virginia was going to be good, and you can check. I said it somewhere. It might have been the ACC preview. I said that I thought that Virginia was going to be a tournament team, like it was going to be a top 4 team in the ACC. Because I might have gotten a little tip on how good they're.
Well, I mean, they've only lost 4 times. I mean, they're a little bit more than just a tournament team. That's the thing. It's like,
yeah. Oh no, I know. I thought that I might have gotten a little tip on how good their European bigs were going to end up being. So I'm not shocked that Virginia they're a little better than I expected, but I'm not shocked that they're a really good team. I'm going to take this a little bit differently. To me, I think Michigan is the most surprising team. And that's because when we came into the season, I had very, very real doubts on how it was going to work with a roster that wanted to play 3 bigs, with a roster that didn't necessarily have the shooting. You're betting on a point guard in Elliot Cadeau that was, like, frankly, kind of a bust at North Carolina, right? If you look at the success that they've had, I want to go through this because I think it's really interesting. Morris Johnson was a guy that was like an underused, underdeveloped piece at Illinois, right? Adai Mara, underused, maybe you want to call it underrated, however you want to phrase it. Like he was a bench guy, 13 minutes a game at UCLA. Elliot Cadeau was a guy that North Carolina fans wanted to get rid of. LJ Kaysen transferred in from Florida Atlantic. Amari Burnett was just kind of like a bench guy at Alabama, right? And at the different stops that he was at. Yaxel Lindenberg was a guy transferring up from a smaller program. Obviously, he was going to be a first-round pick, but he was still a guy that was transferring up from a lower level. You never know how those are going to go. And you combine all of those things with the fact that they decided that they were going to lean into this, like we're playing 3 bigs. We're playing Yaxel Lindenberg as a wing. We're playing Morris Johnson at the 4. Like this is what we're going to be. I did not think I knew they'd be good just because of the size and the coaching staff that was there. The fact that they've been this dominant with the way that they've built that roster is incredible. It's surprising. I give so much credit to that staff for figuring out, like identifying the talent and figuring out a way they wanted to play and finding a way to have success with it. It's really, really impressive. I did not see them being anywhere near this good. They can win a national championship. I was thinking like they might be a second weekend team at most. So credit to Michigan and their staff, man. They figured out what they wanted to do. They did it, and they executed it about as well as you possibly could.
Now we get to our disappointments, of which there are many ways we could go. There have been a lot of shitty teams.
I know. All right, so I'm going to go with one. Well, do you guys why don't you guys go first, and I'll follow up. I'll pick somebody different than you guys go.
John, you go. So I'm very curious. When you say it that way, I'm very curious which direction you're going to go.
I mean, there's Providence that had a $10 million budget and fired Kim English, right? I think that's got to be very, very close to the top of the list. There's Auburn, that's probably not going to make the tournament with a roster that should absolutely be in the NCAA tournament. I mean, Kansas State brought in a consensus second-team All-American and is awful and had to fire their coach midseason. Memphis, after being a 5 seed last year, one of the worst teams I've ever seen from that program. So I guess relative to the expectations, I probably would say Auburn because of what they had been and what they are now. With mostly, I mean, I know that they did start over a little bit. They lost quite a bit, but some of those guys stayed. So I would probably say Auburn for my money right now, but it's very close. There's a lot of candidates
A lot. Rob?
So you went with the shitty teams that we kind of thought were going to be shitty.
Well, nobody thought Auburn was going to be shitty. Nobody thought they were going to be sitting here with 16 losses.
I didn't think they would be this bad, but like,
right,
kind of saw the writing on the wall when.
I mean, you want to say Purdue because they were the preseason #1 team in the country and they're like going to be a 4 seed and maybe lose in the first weekend. I mean,
that's not who I was going to go with. That's not where I was going to go. I was going to go down to Lexington. You said that you thought that what happened with like Providence and the money that they spent and what they did, and the money that Kansas State spent and what they did, and Kentucky had the most expensive roster in the sport, the most expensive roster we have ever seen in college basketball. And yes, put in all the qualifiers. Cam Williams was done for the year. Jalen Lowe was done for the year. Jaden Quaintance never made it back. So you subtract the money that those guys made, it was still the most expensive roster in college basketball. And we're talking about like we're kind of celebrating the fact that they were able to keep it competitive with Florida twice, right? They went out and they took the guy that Florida thought was going to be their starting point guard, went out and stole him off Florida's roster and got beat twice by Florida, the team that they took Denzel Aberdeen from. There's a lot of qualifiers into why they've gone this way, but Kentucky, with the amount of money that they spent, should have been a Final Four team, and they are going to be lucky to get to the second weekend. And I think that is a massive, massive disappointment. Is that harsh?
You're right.
It feels kind of hard.
No, you're right. I mean, again, they had the biggest payroll by far. I'm going to go with the team that's in the Big Ten that is looking down at one team in the Big Ten, and that's Penn State. And it's the Maryland Terrapins and Buzz Williams. It's the worst season in the history of Maryland basketball. The first season was in 1904. This is the worst season in the history of Maryland basketball. Like, think about that. Like, that's hard. They are 11-19 and 4-15. They have money. It's not like they didn't have money. They've got great fan support. We know that. I know they've got a brand new head coach. I get it. They have a new roster. Other teams do that as well. Like, you can't be this bad. You can't be this bad. Nobody expected them to be like, people expected them to be what? Middle of the pack, probably, maybe even a fringe tournament team, because he brought some guys with him. Not like he didn't bring anybody with him. I know he had some injuries, but this is a disaster of a season in College Park, one in which Scott Van Pelt won't even return my text. He's that embarrassed right now. It's that bad.
I mean, they have been dead. I mean, look, I you know what? I mean, we should also mention Ole Miss off a Sweet 16, big budget.
Oh, they've been terrible. Yes.
I mean,
not a huge budget. Not a huge,
yeah.
huge budget. Not as big as you think, comparatively speaking, but big enough. They shouldn't be this bad. They stink.
Yeah, I mean, again, it's Ole Miss basketball, so I know you guys just gloss over it. And look,
no, you know what's hard about it? Like the teams where it became very clear, like that you weren't making the tournament at a certain point, and the bottom completely falls out. I get
you're not paying attention. You're not paying attention.
Yeah, but it's also like once you realize that all you're doing is playing the season out, like you got a bunch of guys on your roster that are there for the paycheck. That are like 10 years ago.
They're there for the next paycheck. They're there for the next paycheck. That's what they're trying to do. They're trying to get numbers.
Yeah, and 10 years ago, and not to like, this is going to sound so boomer and so old, but like 10 years ago, you would be playing for the pride of the university that you enrolled in, that you represented, right? And now it's like you're playing to be able to get your next contract. And you're not going to be able to win games when you are playing, when every single person on the roster is playing to get their next contract. So I do sympathize with some of the coaches, and I'm not, it's not Chris Beard specifically, right? Because he is one of probably dozens and dozens of guys that are in this exact same situation. But I do sympathize with the guys who realized their season was done in mid-January and have a bunch of guys on their roster that are trying to get that next paycheck, because there's only so much you're going to be able to do if you got guys that are just out there to get their own buckets and aren't listening to you once you realize you're not all that good. So It is what it is for a lot of those situations. I get it.
All right, Daniel, what else?
Fellas, I've got nothing else from the chat, so I don't know if there's anything you guys want to talk about before we wrap this up.
Well,
Can we talk about the LIU situation? Can we talk about the LIU situation?
We got to kill 33 more seconds.
Yeah, I hate the way this is set up. Like, why, if Mercyhurst is allowed to play Division I basketball, if they're allowed to play in this conference, how come, if they're allowed to play in the conference tournament, how come they're not allowed to receive the conference tournament's bid to the NCAA tournament? It's the dumbest thing in the world to me. If they're Division I and they play Division I, they play the whole season, they spend all the money for it, why can't they get the reward of being able to go to the Division I NCAA tournament? Is it just to try to limit how many schools move up to Division I? Is that all? Is that the only reason?
I don't. It's that 3-year transition, a 4-year transition that I think now is cut to 3. I don't know what it's for, but whatever it's for, it doesn't make a lot of sense. If you're gonna bring them in and they're gonna transition, let them be eligible right away. I mean, most of these teams are ones that are moving up from Division II to Division I, so they're gonna have a tougher time doing it. Didn't we have a couple of years ago? Wasn't the big one when Merrimack won the regular season and wasn't able to? They were a transition team, and who went instead of them? Who went instead of them?
I don't remember. Was that Fairleigh Dickinson?
St. Peter's?
Yes, it was Fairleigh Dickinson, right? And they go for, and then they beat Purdue, right? Yes. Wasn't it that year? I mean, I know it's late tonight.
Had to be.
I'm pretty sure that was the year.
Had to be. Yeah, had to be. So, yeah,
Rob's
that rule sucks.
To make sure. But
that rule absolutely sucks.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure Tobin Anderson.
Yeah, Fairleigh Dickinson lost. You're right. I totally forgot that they lost.
Isn't that crazy? Think about that. The biggest upset never should have happened. Never should have ever happened in NCAA tournament history. That was a bigger one than UMBC beating Virginia in terms of Vegas.
Yeah.
And it never should have happened.
Spin zone. Yeah. This is the best thing that ever happened to Merrimack because it meant that Joe Gallo had to spend an extra 4 years there. Because Joe Gallo would have definitely pulled that upset too. I've seen that Merrimack team play.
Yep.
Joe Gallo will not be long. Hey, can we actually I do think while we're waiting for the end of this BYU Texas Tech game to finish with 25 seconds left, I do think we need to toast and talk a little bit about Mark Schmidt in the situation in St. Bonaventure. I think it's worth talking about.
Go ahead. Go ahead. Set it up. Tee it up. Go.
So Mark Schmidt retired. Terminology was retired today. There were a lot of people that felt like the new GM at St. Bonaventure, Adrian Wojnarowski, who I've never had really a good relationship about at all over the years, that he forced Schmidt out. And I don't know exactly what happened there. I'm sure here's the thing that I would say on both levels. I'm a big Mark Schmidt fan, huge Mark Schmidt fan. He's done an incredible job at St. Bonaventure, getting him to 3 tournaments. It's one of the tougher jobs in the A10 in Olean, New York. Really, really tough. But I do think he's 63 years old. He said it today. I think he wants to move on. I think he wants to retire. He wants to do something different. Did Woj and the athletic director probably push it? Yeah, I'm sure they did. Because, again, this is a guy that loves to coach but didn't want to recruit. Didn't really want to go out and recruit much. So he brought in Adrian Wojnarowski to help him recruit. So, the final say, I talked to Schmidt. We had him in our event this year, and I've talked to him about it before on A10 Media Day, that the final say on all matters that determine the roster were up to him. Woj was certainly there to help, and with his contacts and his relationships with agents and agents overseas, it was going to help. But, I think it was a matter of like the times had changed and Mark Schmidt really didn't change with the times as much and the new landscape of college basketball. And I don't think he wanted to. And I think, he looked at peace with it today in the post game of like, hey, I'm good. I'm going to go travel with my wife. I'm going to go to the beach. I'm going to probably move out of Olean, where I've been the last 20 years, and go somewhere warm and enjoy my life, the next chapter. So kudos to Mark Schmidt, unbelievable coach, unbelievable human being. And now the search starts for a new head coach for St. Bonaventure.
You buried the lead, Goodman. He not only said he was going to go travel with his wife, he said, I'm going to go drink some beer.
Did he? Yeah, good.
Yeah, that's
good
what
for
I said. I
him.
want to go drink some beer.
I just think people
I
were
do,
killing Woj, and I don't think it was fair.
yeah, that's what I was going to say.
You know?
Is I sympathize a little bit with Woj. Like, he's going to be the guy that takes the blame for running Mark Schmidt out, and I think that that's probably too harsh for what the reality of the situation is. It's not as simple as Mark Schmidt wanted to leave and brought in Woj to help, and it's not as simple as Woj ran him out. Like, there's gray area there, but I do sympathize a little bit with what Woj is dealing with. What I will say is, because of the way that this kind of set up, is Woj better nail this hire. Like, he's got to get this one right. Like that him and that staff, like they got to make sure that who they bring in to him and the AD, to make sure who they bring in to be able to coach this team better be good, because Mark Schmidt was as good as anybody when it came to just coaching basketball, right? Like, that dude just, you got the names, Goodman. Go ahead, read them off.
All right, the names are, let me try to remember them. This was like earlier today. Joe Gallo,
Mike McDonald. Mike McDonald is the D2 guy.
Let's start with you help me. You can help me, but Joe Gallo is the first one. I don't think he'd take the job at St. Bonaventure now. I think he can do better at this point. We'll see, but I think Boston College should be begging him to go to BC. Mike McDonald, who was a St. Bonaventure alum, who I believe is good friends with Woj, and was a head coach at Canisius. Can you find out his age, Rob? Are you able to find that out anywhere? I couldn't find it. But my guess is he's got to be, in his 50s. He's not some up-and-comer. He's been in the D2 ranks here for a while. Mike McDonald, Pat Sellers, Central Connecticut State, has done an incredible job there. You've got Brian Adams, who's an NBA guy, who's an assistant coach at Alabama. And then who's the last one? Rob?
Vanderpool.
Oh, yeah, David Vanderpool, whose son is at FAU, by the way. Vanderpool's a Bonnie's grad too, and he's been in the NBA for a while as an assistant coach. Those are 5 of the candidates. That's not the final list or anything like it, but those are 5 of the candidates that'll be in the mix.
Mike McDonald graduated from St. Bonaventure in 1988, which means he's probably about 60, around there.
They can't pay a head coach $1.5 million, which is what they were paying Mark Schmidt. They don't have the money to be able to do that, so they're going to try to get somebody for probably half that. By the way, BYU.
I have a question.
Go ahead.
I have a question, but we'll get to BYU in a second. I have a question on Joe Gallo, since you brought him up. You keep mentioning Boston College with Joe. How come you are not mentioning Providence with Joe Gallo?
Providence. I mean, he should be in the mix. BC would be number 1 for me for Joe Gallo. I just think the pool is going to be completely different. Like, Jared Calhoun is not going to be interested in Boston College. Neither is Brian Hodgson. Like, it's a different level because you've got $10 million this year. BC's got $3 million this year. In BC, it's the 3rd most important sport at the school after, football, hockey, and then football, and then men's basketball. Where Providence, hockey is important, but it's the sport. So, to me, they're different levels. BC is one of the worst Power 5 jobs. So I'm not even sure Joe Gallo should take BC. I'm just saying they should go after him. They should prioritize him today. And, when they make a move on Earl Grant, and give him a 6-year deal and try to see what they can do, because I just think he fits at BC. I would have him on the list at Providence, but I also think Providence is going to go with a guy that's a little more proven, that's probably coached at a higher level than Merrimack. I don't think Knapp can do that and just roll the dice on somebody that hasn't coached for either a while or coach at a higher level than Merrimack. How's that? Like Jared Calhoun. Not at the highest level, but he's been in the Mountain West for a couple of years. That's a different level than Merrimack, obviously.
Yep.
All right, let's hit BYU here. They stormed the court for some reason, but they did win. BYU won 82-76 over Texas Tech. Big night from Rob Wright, 27 points, 9 of 17 from the field, and obviously, Jeff, you just wanted, if you're BYU, you want to see one go through the hoop in the life after Richie Saunders era.
Yeah, they've been struggling. They needed this desperately. And again, it's a win with an asterisk next to it. It just is.
Yep.
I know Texas Tech fans don't want to hear this, but what did I say 2 weeks ago, Rob? You remember my quote from 2 weeks ago about Texas Tech? He's getting off the screen now. Look at him. He's scared, which I don't blame him. What I said was, if you replayed the season, the entire season, without JT Toppin, I felt like they would be somewhere from a 7 to 10 seed. I still believe that. I still believe it. Now, they beat Kansas State, who stinks, the first game. They beat Cincinnati, who's not an NCAA tournament team, in the second game. 2, fine, okay. Then they beat Iowa State. That was a hell of a win. Well, what's happened in these last 2 games? Hasn't been pretty. Been pretty. I mean, again, you lost tonight to a BYU team that, frankly, the only team they've beaten was what? Their only quality win? Who they beat? Iowa State? Who they beat?
No. Look, we're not going to do that. Texas Tech.
Big win.
Texas Tech went on the road.
Don't expect. No. Here's what I'm saying, Rob. Here's what I'm saying. Is like all those fans that went after me and were like, you're an idiot. They're not a 7 to 10 seed. They're not a 10 seed. You're a moron. We beat Kansas State and Cincinnati and Iowa State, and we're going to be the same team. And that's what they thought. They're going to be a 3 or 4 seed. You're not. Get it through your head. You're not. You've got an unbelievable coach. You've got an incredible guard in Christian Anderson, but you are not a team that is a Final Four threat, which is what you were with JT Toppin, period. Like, there's no doubt it. Like, if they get to the second weekend, that's a hell of a season for Texas Tech now without Toppin, who is the second best.
Rob, why are you hiding your face? What's the controversy with this?
I just don't want to get lumped in with this take. Look, you are right. It is, if you lose the second best player in college basketball, you are going to be worse off.
And that's all he's saying. He's not. It's not really.
Yes.
It's not really.
No. He's doing the Goodman thing where he's waiting for the loss so he can jab the knife in. And
he put a number on it. That's what it was, right? He said 10
and twist it. What I will say is this: Texas Tech went on the road to one of the toughest environments in college basketball in the Marriott Center, and they were ahead for most of the first half. They had a lead late. They had an opportunity to win that game. Christian Anderson was awesome. 23 points, 9 assists, 2 turnovers. Donovan Atwell made big shot after big shot after big shot. They are still a dangerous team. They are not as dangerous, anywhere near as dangerous with the ceiling that they had with JT Toppin. That is obvious. But I'm not going to sit here on a night when they had a chance to be able to beat BYU in BYU's own building and say negative things about Texas Tech, a Texas Tech team that doesn't have JT Toppin. I thought that was a hell of a fight that they had. They could have won that game, and if they won that game, they'd have a very different conversation. So that's I'm not going to be the one that's slandering Texas Tech's name after that.
I'm just saying they're 3-2 at this point. They are kind of what I thought they'd be. Now again, they beat Iowa State, and that was a hell of a win at Hilton. But I'm just saying, like they also lost to TCU at home. That's not a good loss.
You are, you know what, Goodman? You are right. You could take your victory lap on saying that Texas Tech.
I'm not taking a victory lap.
Is not as good.
No, I don't want to.
You are. You took 3 victory laps, maybe even 4.
I didn't want to. No, I did not. All I'm saying is they are what I kind of thought they were, which is now again. No, I shouldn't say that. I didn't think they could beat Iowa State at Hilton Coliseum without JT Toppin.
Yeah.
So they're better because, again, they're tough. They're tough. They take on the personality of their coach. McCaslin's awesome.
So like a
Their
6
players
seed?
are tough.
Can we get 6? Can we get a 6 seed? What about 5?
Can we get a
How
what?
about like a 5/6 seed? They're a 5/6 seed.
That's what they'll get. That's what they'll get now.
You know what I'm saying? That's
half
what
of
they
that
are. Come on, put some respect on their name. Why do you hate Christian Anderson?
So you believe if you play the season over without JT Toppin, you believe Texas Tech would be a 5 or a 6 seed? You do.
I mean,
really
in our
do.
latest field in the
That would make them a top
68, they're
25
a
team,
4.
Right. They're a
Yeah,
4
I
because they had
think
done
that-
enough without Toppin.
If they're
Right.
a top 6 seed, I think that they would be that makes them a top 25 team, right? I think they'd be right there. I think they would be a team that would be in and out of the top 25, the back end of the top 25, because I think Christian Anderson is awesome. They got a bunch of good other good guards that can make shots. Lamont Watts is better than people realize, and they got Luke, whatever his. I'm not going to try to say your last name because I would brutalize it, but they got Luke inside. Van Boye that can be the rim runner. So yes, I think they would have been a back end top 25 team, which is like a 6/7 seed. So that's what I think they would have been without him.
All right, I'll give you a 8, 9, 10, somewhere in that range.
All right, there we go. We're going to end the show on some progress.
Okay.
Bumping it up from 10 to an 8. I think that's a good one to go out on. So listen,
8
it's
to 10.
getting real. It's getting real here on Field of 68. It's March 8th.
I can't wait you're going to Kansas City for the Big 12 tournament. I can't wait
I know
for
that.
Texas Tech to win the Big 12 tournament and for Grant McCaslin to come on. So you said they're an 8 seed to just come on and be like this.
There you go.
At least he doesn't have to use every finger now. He doesn't have to do this anymore.
That's right. That's right. We just finished our last Saturday of the regular
You
season.
actually fit in. To be honest, your look with that hat, you fit in. I've been to Lubbock numerous times.
It's a little small for my head. That's the only problem. It's a little. The brim isn't quite big enough, so it's a little too tight on my head. But it's too nice of a hat for me not to wear. So
yeah,
absolutely.
I gotta go with it. We're now into Sunday, the last Sunday of the college basketball regular season. How about it?
We're here.
And then we're
here, baby.
Keep it locked here on the Field of 68. It's the most comprehensive college basketball coverage in the entire universe. For Rob Dauster, for Jeff Goodman, I'm John Martin. Have a great night.